Welcome back to the channel. Got a cool one here for you, and I know we titled it Guitar Gimmicks, but I'll preface that by saying a lot of these things that we'll talk about are not necessarily gimmicks. They're not scams, things of that nature. Just bizarre, perhaps unique. Some of them are gimmicks, but we'll dive right into it with the gimmickiest, I don't know if that's a word, gimmickiest guitar that I own. And this is obviously a very custom guitar that's gotten a little bit dirty lately. But we'll start with, all the visual stuff going on this. First thing up is a neck illusion inlay, which I've done, I think 2, maybe even 3 videos on neck illusions now. I actually really like them. I started off thinking it was going to be a gimmick, but it costs like 30 bucks or something with shipping. But these are just stickers. They lay down, they're ultra thin, and yeah, they're actually pretty cool. I really like these. I have them on a handful of guitars now, on 3 guitars currently, and I've put them on 2 other guitars for other people as well. Very cool. You kind of change the look of your guitar there. I like it. Up next on this guitar is those little rolling string trees. For a long time, I kind of thought that was like a requirement, mainly because I don't like typical Squier string trees. When you tighten a tuning machine, you hear that like click and pop. It's usually from the string kind of jumping and not moving smoothly there. You don't need rollers. You just need better than Squier string trees. It doesn't really matter what they are. So my American Professional Strat that I have from Fender, those string trees are fantastic. The rollers are fine too. I'm not disparaging the rollers, just saying you don't need rollers. And they're dirt cheap. I think I got these on eBay. I'm sure they were made in China by some 8-year-old in a factory. And they cost like $4 for the set, something like that. Very cheap. Next up, and again, not necessarily gimmick, but we have locking tuners. You get a little shot of them. These are hip shot locking tuners. And I think the first guitar I ever had with locking tuners was my custom Flying V that I have, that I don't even think I've showed on the channel before, but I had no experience with locking tuners until then, and they're really cool. I don't even think I'd ever heard of them. Highly recommend locking tuners, especially good locking tuners. They're fantastic. These locking tuners as well, if you noticed, and we'll try to line it up there, are staggered. So you have longer tuners down here and shorter up here to adjust that break angle over the nut to keep the string seated in the nut and to keep it from bouncing and vibrating around, because there's no string trees, of course, on the 5th and 6th string. And then on other style headstocks, you can reverse the stagger and get it going the other way, just really for whatever, your purposes are. But staggered tuners, do you need them? Absolutely not. That just seems like kind of a luxury item on higher end guitars. I think the Am Pro has staggered tuners. I'd have to actually look. But yeah, staggered tuners, kind of gimmicky. You don't really need it, but they don't cost any extra from Hipshot. I think it might be like a $3 increase to get a set of staggered versus the normal lockers. So that's fine. Moving on, keeping the same guitar out here, we have custom printed pickguard. And this is cover art from one of my books. Probably maybe used to be my favorite cover art, but obviously you don't need it. Purely cosmetic. Is it a gimmick? Pretty much. Is it cool? Yes, it's very cool. I actually don't know what this guitar started as, this body. I think it was a Made in Mexico Squier, like a Players Series or something like that. But I don't have any pictures of it, unfortunately. When I got it in, it was relicked at home with like a belt sander. And it was in really horrific shape. So I really don't know. But there are tons of different companies out there. The one I use, I believe, is called Greasy Groove, and they're on Etsy, and they did this one for me for I think it was like $45, maybe $50 with shipping, something like that. And I can't remember if they did, I'll take the strap off, if they did the back plates or not either. But we have the very cool like nebula strap cover, the trem cover, and then this kind of like creepy moon over the forest and the water, I don't know, black metal-y type thing. Again, do you need these? No. Are they very cool? Yes. Cool thing that you can get with custom neck plates is people make like metal ones that are stamped. And so you can stamp it with your own logo, with your name, whatever you want, the date you made the guitar. But you can do cool stuff with the neck plates. I kind of like that. Up next, strap locks. These are Dunlop, the two-way, or I think they call it dual design strap locks. And I have these on not every guitar that I own, but like 75%, and definitely all my stage guitars that are actually, you know, going to get gigged and played always have strap locks. I didn't know about strap locks until I've been playing for like 15 years. And roommate in college had strap locks on his Epiphone Les Paul. And I was like, what is that? And he showed it to me and I was like, that seems dumb. I will never need that. And then I got my own Les Paul and it was extremely heavy. And I was like, I see the appeal now. But I put them on basically everything because it's just perfectly secure. You can also get, I think I have a handful. Yeah, I do right here. Rubber strap locks for like $1 or maybe even cheaper. And they're just rubber washers that go over the strap button. And those work very, very well. I've had once where a rubber strap lock failed. I've never had these Dunlop ones fail. And there's different companies that make them. But if you pick one, I'd say stick with the company because then all your straps are interchangeable. They can go from guitar to guitar, which is pretty cool. So far we've kind of only talked about cool, good gimmicks. But let's get to some not good gimmicks. You may have noticed on this guitar, it has black strings. If that's not a guitar gimmick, I don't know what is. These are DR Black Beauties, and they're not good. These are terrible strings. I am not a fan at all. It says the high performance coating. I think they just put that on every package, whether it's like the Black Beauties or just normal DR strings. And I've used plenty of DR strings. I've used their the DR Tight Fits quite a bit in that like red package, I think with dime on it. I like those strings a lot. I don't have any in stock right now, but I like them. But these Black Beauties, I bought two just to literally to make this video pretty much. They're trash. They feel like shit. Like they just don't even feel good. They don't feel like normal strings. Like they're almost tacky. And then I know it'll be hard to pick up on the camera, but look at that fourth string and the second and first string specifically. The coating has already come off. And this is a Strat. I'm not playing like brutal death metal on it. I'm not, slamming away and chugging on this thing. I play mostly like this guitar gets played for a lot of blues, and I actually play a lot of fingerstyle on it. So the fact that the coating is gone after my guess 3 hours of play means those strings are worthless. They're just terrible. So don't buy those. Along the lines of strings, and what I keep on my American Pro Strat behind me, coated strings. So just normal coated strings, not colored and not Black Beauties. But these are the ones that I have in. I actually have a couple sets of acoustic elixirs as well. I used to use elixirs on everything, all my acoustic guitars. They always got elixirs. I really like elixirs. And that was back in like 2008, they tripled the price. So haven't actually put elixirs on much lately. And instead I use the Stringjoy Orbiters or the Stringjoy Foxwoods because I just really like the Stringjoy stuff so far. Everything I've used from them has been great. But the Orbiters are fantastic. They feel really, really good. So very much like the Orbiters. I'll be buying those again. But coated strings, not a gimmick. Black coated strings like this nonsense, a gimmick. And I don't know what I'm going to do with that other pack of Black Beauties. I just don't know where, like this is I said I bought two. This is a sealed pack. I'm not sure what I'll do with that. At some point, maybe I'll make a blacked out custom guitar where just every single thing on it is black. But for now, they're just sitting in my box of strings at the bottom. Moving on, we have custom knobs as well. So these are wooden knobs with like a Tree of Life pewter inlay on the top. And they feel really nice. Wooden knobs, do you need it? No, obviously not. Are they more expensive? Yes, by like triple. They're much more expensive. But they're very, very cool. I like the wooden knobs a lot. They're fun. They're very unique. I don't know if I've ever come across another guitar with wooden knobs. I know that's a standard option from Kiesel that you can get. Also attached to the wooden knobs, the wiring system on this guitar is unique. So like I said, I did basically everything to this that you can, or I tried to at least. If I missed something cool, let me know. But this has 9-way wiring harness. And the wiring harness, I don't know why I'm holding it up, you can't see it. But the 9-way wiring was, I think it was on eBay, I think it was like $25. And you got all the pots, all 3 pots, and they're already like pre-wired. So they're more or less plug and play. You know, you solder like 10 points or something and you're good. But the 9-way is pretty cool. It simulates actually what the American Pro does stock. And when you're on the bridge, which it's on right now, or bridge and middle position, this bottom knob becomes a blender for the top pickup. So you can run all 3 at once. You can run one of my favorite positions, which is bridge neck for that like classic Telecaster sound, at least to me. But you can blend it in too, and that's really cool. So it's not like on off. You can actually blend it in. And then when you're on the top, when you're on the neck or neck middle, it becomes a blender knob for the bridge. So you can go, from the top all the way blended in is going to be identical to, from the bottom all the way blended in. You get that, but it's pretty cool. So you can have like your top pickup being your main pickup and then blend in, 25% of that bridge pickup. And that's actually really neat. I like that a lot. Is it gimmicky? Do you need that? Yeah, it kind of is. Does it work? Is it useful? Yeah, it actually is useful. It's just goofy. And, if you're rewiring a guitar or something and you're just buying a wiring harness online, like probably a lot of people do, like me, then, I think it's like $10 more than I normally pay for a pre-made wiring harness. So why not get the 9-way? That's actually pretty cool. I like that. Moving on from the actual guitar itself, we have one of my favorite gimmicks, the wooden guitar pick. And I actually have, I just realized it. I still have the case and there's still some picks in it. But we have, I don't know what this brand is. I never will. It says 8 Exotica handcrafted picks. Rosewood, zebra, iron, and maple. Whatever. It was dirt cheap on like Amazon. It was like $6 or something. Came in a cool little tin, and I was like, you know what? I'll try it. It's like $6. But wooden pick, if I can hold it there, and you can see I've done some damage to the end. I have used it. This is a gimmick. It's not good. It is hard to use, and compared to the normal Dunlop Flow 1mm that I use, very, very thin versus very, very thick. I don't know the actual thickness. I guess I could bust out the calipers, but oh my God, my hands are so unsteady. My guess is around 2 to maybe 2¼ millimeters. It's a thick boy. The only real benefit, I guess, is maybe a couple. They look really cool and they feel cool in your hands, so I do like that. But another benefit that these ones have, and you can see it there, is that impression. And sometimes I use this with beginning students that I'm teaching. And if it's like the first time they've ever touched a guitar, a lot of students aren't very good at holding a pick and holding it correctly. So with this thumb imprint, put your thumb on it, grab the pick, you're halfway there. So, you kind of need to adjust and get it just right. And then of course, how you hold your pick is pretty personal, but that is, one use I found out of it. Another purely gimmicky pick, this, which looks really cool, is a resin pick. I got it for free, and it's huge. And it also doesn't come to a point. It's just a thick slab. Obviously, this is just for display. Like, you you couldn't play this. Like, it's dirty as well, somehow. I don't even know. That looks like it's in the resin. I don't know. Something happened to this pick. I don't touch it very often. But it's like you can't actually use this and like play guitar with this pick. You'd be hard pressed to enjoy it. It does look very cool though. And that resin it's actually really neat. Kind of have some good lighting in here today because it snowed like 5 inches outside. So kind of get that nice white reflection. Whatever. Next up, we have custom printed picks. So these are for my band. We have white and black. And these are from Clayton Customs. And they were, if I remember correctly, I think 50 cents a piece. We got, 200 of them shipped for like $99. So around 50 cents a piece. They're actually pretty good. I expected junk. I really did. I expected that the quality would be like, give these away, like throw them into the crowd or something, do the pick toss like dime. But I expected them to be, just be really junk. And they're actually quality, like playable picks. Like the black one especially is more my style, but it's, I want to say it's a 0.8 or 0.85. It's fairly thin. Not that you'd be able to see it, but it's fairly thin, fairly flexible, but it's good. Like it feels like a good quality pick. So very similar to like right next to it, like just a Fender Heavy or the Gibson Heavy, which are like identical picks, but I do change the brand of my pick based on the guitar I play because I'm really awkward like that. And one more on picks, since I'm ranting and raving on picks, we have, I'll show you the container, Pick Geek. You've probably seen their ads all over the planet. I got these on Amazon. They were dirt cheap. I got all 3 at once, and I think with shipping it was like $15, so $5 a 10. They come with some useful picks, like this tiny little guy. Some people like those. But then they come with like a tombstone. What do I do with that? It's very thin as well. Very, very flexible, thin little tombstone. They come with, I actually kind of like these, the mini triangle. I know it's hard to see. Try to get my hand, that doesn't help. But the mini triangle, that's actually pretty cool. And they come with, gotta be the most confusing pick I've ever seen. The shark fin with the little like serrated edge on the side. And I've done some looking up on like, are shark fin picks real? Like, or is this something Pick Geek made up? There are actually people out there who play shark fin. If you're one of them, tell me about it. Why? I've used it, and to me, it is a pick. It doesn't come to a sharp point like I personally like. I like a very sharp point on there, but I just can't really figure out why you'd play a shark fin. And then probably the most useless pick of them all is the aluminum pick. And you think the coating on these strings went out real quick. You use a metal pick and you're going to be replacing strings all the time. So also, if you use a metal pick, tell me why. I'd like to know. Or if you use a wooden pick as well, I'd be curious there. I actually I was talking to one of my students and had a wooden pick. And it was from that set as a zebra wood pick that I actually use every now and then because it's just kind of cool. And it's super tactile. It feels really cool. But he asked and he's like, is that like designed for bluegrass basically? And it's kind of the opposite. Like you can't play fast because it's too thick. So you need, something like the normal, like what I use, the Dunlop Flow picks, something like that. All right, next up, we got just a couple other things. The Spark 40. And I don't know if I can even, I don't know how. It's going to swap the camera around, but and there's the Spark 40 and the picks I just showed you. I have it in white because it looks really killer, and I like white amps. I really want to get my Katana in white as well. And by God, the Katana is dusty, but I don't touch the top very often. But the Spark 40, if you haven't seen an ad for the Spark 40, you haven't been paying attention to your social media. It is everywhere. This has got to be the most marketed like #1 most advertised amp on earth. And when I first saw him and I first saw like the Instagram ads and it was like, you know, play like you're in a band kind of thing, I 100%, I was like, this is just a dumb gimmick. Had a student that got a Spark, then had another student that got a Spark, then had a student that was asking about a Spark. And I was like, well, I like the ones that my students had. I'll give it a shot. And these things retail for like, I don't know, like $250 or something like that, or $225. But like everything else that's heavily marketed, there's always a sale. So you can get it shipped for like $175 whenever you want. But I actually really like it. I'll probably do a full video on the Spark at some point and probably on my Katana as well. But honestly, the Spark 40 is badass. It's a really nice amp, extremely versatile. It does absolutely everything right out of the gate. I've seen some people complain that, oh, it's only 40 watts and the speakers are really small, because I think it's like 2x4. But they're like, it's just not powerful enough. And it's like, dude, it's a $200 practice amp. And it is marketed as a practice amp. It is not marketed as, you know, this is going to be your next amp to play on stage with Zakk Wylde. Like, if you want it to be super loud, you don't want a Spark. That's it. I don't know, but that's my rant. It's not loud. It gets loud enough and plenty loud for practice. And then the coolest thing about it, what a lot of people do, is they use it as the Bluetooth speaker, which I do all the time for practice. And through the actual like Spark app that you get, you can like search in there for whatever song you want to play on YouTube or whatever. Or for me, like I pull files, like practice files for my band up on my phone, and I can run it through the Spark and play at the same time. So I can play my guitar part in real time to the drummer's recorded track. Or I can play, like when we were working on the Under Oath song that we played at our last gig, I just pulled up that song on YouTube and then could play it through the Spark. It comes through and I can hear it just fine, and I'm playing along with it. That is an insane versatility that very few other amps have. If they do have it, they have it because the Spark did it and they need to compete. Does have, I'll show you the top, but again, I'll probably do a full-on Spark video. It's very dusty up there because I don't touch it much, other than, of course, the on-off switch. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know I use the Spark a lot. It's got 4 presets that you can set right up there. You can change them super easy. You can make your own kind of very general presets just by going, you know, to whatever you want over here and then fiddling with the knobs. Then this will be saved as well as kind of like your 5th preset. And so you've got the 4 up there. It's got the headphone jack. I've got my headphones on the side. I use that a lot. Super useful. And honestly, and this is kind of a little bonus, but I've got these like nice Bose headphones. The speakers and drivers and whatever in the Bose headphones are probably better than the Spark and the Spark speakers. And so the tone quality that I get listening on the headphones is actually a little bit better than when I'm, you know, actually playing. So that's, you know, the headphones cost like $50 or $100 more than the Spark did. So kind of makes sense. Moving on from that, we have more kind of strange stuff. This little guy, actually I wasn't even going to talk about it, but you know, it's sitting right here. I might as well. And this is the Nux, which is, I think they just sell on Amazon. I don't know if they actually have like a site and everything. But it's a wireless system. They're not super expensive. So if you get the Line 6 wireless relay, that, you know, you got to have a rack unit and everything, and it starts at, it's like $600. I'm sure it's incredible. I've never used one, but the Nux is like $150, $175, something like that. And it's really nice. I like it a lot. I'm actually like, I'm upset that I didn't get one of these earlier, because it's super useful when you're practicing for a stage performance, or if you just have the cable management of a drunkard like I do. It's so useful, like, to practice stage presence and like walking around, moving around, you know, not just sitting in your seat or standing up next to your amp. But it's got the receiver and the transmitter and everything there. Cool thing about this, other than just the case actually looks really cool and seems to be very sturdy, is the case itself has battery in it. And so you can push a little button there and you can charge the units from the case. And it said in the paperwork, and I haven't tested it, but it said it'll charge them like 4 times total from the case. But then you can also charge them, it's got all the cords and stuff in there. You can charge them just the units on their own. It is micro USB, not USB-C. That's probably my one complaint, because everything is USB-C now, so it still has that kind of old school micro. But the case is really nice, super small. I've used it through walls, not too far, maybe max like 25 feet. I mean, I live in a house, not an arena. So I haven't actually used it on stage yet, but I definitely plan to, because it's just so nice. Like it a lot. It's very plug and play too. I'm not a techie guy, and this is easy to use. So yeah, really cool. I like that. Not a gimmick, again, it's just a thing, but a different thing. Do you need one? Absolutely not. Is it cool? Absolutely it is. The Boss Katana there, talking about very, very heavily marketed amps. The Katana might be the most recommended amp on earth, and I've got my pick tins and stuff up here, and it's very dusty and dirty, because again, I really only ever touch the power control, and sometimes I fiddle with the reverb or the EQ, but lately I use it mostly as a pedal platform. But the coolest thing on the Katana is you can connect it to your computer and download presets, and it's very similar to the Spark in that regard. I don't know if you can play backing tracks through it though. That would be cool. I've never needed to, because I have the Spark as well, but if it does, that'd be really cool. Alrighty, one last thing, and you've seen it before, but we'll move to the Jackson. So our final gimmicky type goofy thing here, or I guess we could say there's multiple, because we have these crazy ass gimmicky humbucker covers and rings, and that of course is a gimmick. Do they work? Yeah. I don't know how they wouldn't. Are they well made? Well enough. I've had no problems. Do you need them? Obviously not. They're just aesthetic. But then the last kind of gimmick is the kill switch. And this one, of course, has the LED. I just love that. It's absurd. More custom knobs. This one's 3D printed. Worked really well. Got on Etsy. But do you need a kill switch? I have never really found a use case. I like them because they're fun, but I've never actually played a song where I'm like, yeah, I need a kill switch here, or hit something and been like, man, I wish I had a kill switch to accent that or something. So they're just fun. It's fun, it's goofy, but that's it. So I don't know. I love them, and I'll keep putting kill switches on everything, because why the hell not? It's just awesome, and I just never really have tone knobs anyways, because I just end up leaving them on 10. Love the LED. Feels really cool, but I want one of the arcade button ones. I guess another thing I could talk about too is the Groove Gear. So that's a little bit cat hair on there. Groove Gear fret wrap. Typically you keep your fret wrap kind of right there, not really tight, but snug enough. And it deadens those harmonics. So if we take this off, you can hear the harmonics out of the high parts of the strings. And obviously you're not hitting these when you're playing, but sometimes the actual string vibration is enough to cross the nut and kind of generate just a little bit, just enough. So people use these fret wraps, or if you've seen like Aerosmith or something, they tie like a bandana or, all sorts of stuff. One thing that I do really like about Groove Gear in these, boop. And I actually, when I play on stage, all of my guitars have fret wraps, and it's more to store picks than anything else. So I'm always kind of afraid of dropping a pick, but with these, and I, jumping around playing in a metal band, I've never lost a pick out of here, and I've always got a backup if I need it. You can fit 2, really not more than 2 on a 6-string at least, but I've always just kept a pick in the fret wrap, and I think that's really what it's designed for. Like, why else, have the pocket? But yeah, there you have it, kind of gimmicky, goofy guitar things. more neck illusion here for you. And I've done a full breakdown of this Jackson guitar in another video. That's pretty badass. This thing is actually just, for such a cheap guitar, this is originally a JS22. It plays so well. So well. And we got our strap locks on there too, but I've played this on stage, so anything on stage gets the strap locks. But yeah, if you got any other guitar gimmicks and goofy stuff, let me know and maybe I'll pick it up and we'll do a little video on it. But yeah, see you in the next one.